There's a little place where people gather to enjoy the banquet of life. It's the diner.
Hi there, and welcome to Baseball by Design. I am SportsLogos.net minor league baseball correspondent Paul Caputo, broadcasting live, as always, from the Sunday Helmet Hall of Fame in my basement in Fort Collins, Colorado. This episode started out being about the Double-A Somerset Patriots, who play in Somerset, New Jersey, but it kind of turned into an episode about the Jersey Diners, which is an alternate identity of the teams. So you'll hear about the Somerset Patriots, but we're also going to get deep into Jersey Diner culture. I'll be speaking later on in this episode with designer Ryan Foose, who created the Jersey Diners brand. I will be speaking with Baseballpalooza regular Al Langlois, who is an expert on Jersey Diners. And of course, Dan Simon will be here with one of his Studio Simon Stumpers. Right now, I am so pleased to welcome Dave Marek, who is the Senior Vice President of Marketing for the Somerset Patriots. Dave, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Paul. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so pleased to be talking to you about this team, especially now that you have some fun alternate identities going on. So this team has a lot going on. It made a splash this offseason, and there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. But first, let's talk about the Double-A Somerset Patriots. I think this is a really fun brand because there's a very specific story behind the brand. There's a very specific reason for the name. So I'll just ask you to state it in your words, if you would. Why is this team called the Patriots?
Great question. So here in New Jersey is kind of known as the crossroads of the American Revolution. Battles and skirmishes, and New Jersey is just a hotbed of Revolutionary War activity that happened, in that time period. We are, our owner, our founder, Steve Califer, just loves America, loves the American flag, saw a great connection with the revolutionary history that New Jersey had, the American flag, and just wanted to bring that kind of, connection to our community. And in addition, just right across the street, I can look out my window and I can see a house that was built in the 1700s called the Van Horn House. And the Van Horn House is actually significant in Revolutionary War history, where in 1777, the Battle of Bound Brook took place. So right across the street here from the ballpark, very possibly here on the ballpark grounds itself, a Revolutionary War actually happened. And the folklore for that event is an interesting one, because the Van Horns, the family themselves, were a very accommodating family. They loved to have parties and host people and all that stuff. So in the morning, the Continental Army was occupying the house. Of course, back then in those days, armies would just go from house to house and just occupy them, I guess. So they were hosting the Continental Army in the morning. The battle started coming about in the afternoon of that day, and the British kind of rolled in to the area, and the Continental Army left the house and went up north to the hills. And then the British Army took place they occupied the house at lunchtime. And so they had lunch there. The Van Horns, gave them lunch and everything. And then eventually the Continental Army came back down that same day and pushed the British out, and then they reoccupied the house that night. So it was kind of an interesting little footnote in Revolutionary War history. And then lastly, when the Betsy Ross flag was designed, the Middlebrook encampment here, very close to the ballpark as well, which is where the Continental Army retreated to, is where the first Betsy Ross flag was flown. And so that's, there's a little bit of history there for that too.
That story of the Middlebrook encampment and the first unfurling ever of the American flag, and the Betsy Ross flag in this instance, it seems like a piece of trivia that like every American student should learn. It's kind of an amazing piece of history. It's a fantastic reason for a team to have a sort of flag themed identity.
Yeah. So did you know that the Betsy Ross flag is not the original American flag?
I did not know that.
That's what everybody thinks.
I would have lost money on that.
So the Betsy Ross, back there in that time when it was determined that the United States was going to create a flag to call their own, I guess there might have been a couple of different designers that they were reaching out to create this flag. But and so Betsy Ross was actually one of the first ones, of course. But the flag that was actually originally adopted by the United States is the first American flag is actually called the Hopkinson flag. It looks exactly like, kind of the American flag today, with the exception you've got a 6-pointed star versus a 5-pointed star. And of course, you only had 13 of them. So you can see how that flag and the Betsy Ross flag, they're a little bit similar. So you can see that like whoever was pushing this out to say we need a flag was probably putting some design requests out there or whatever. And then, a couple of different designers design their own, version of it. But the Hopkinson flag was the first one that was actually adopted by Congress as the first flag. And we actually have an honor to the Hopkinson flag right in front of our ballpark, where we have the Hopkinson stars displayed at the main gate as you're walking in, with a little plaque talking about the Hopkinson flag.
That is a very cool bit of trivia there, and I had no idea there were different designers. I mean, what an amazing tie into this podcast, right? The fact that there were different designers working independently on creating different versions of the American flag. The U.S. government was doing, a design contest to create a new logo for us.
Pretty much, yeah.
There must be, I mean, the popular sort of association with the nickname Patriots is for, obviously a New England football team. You all are a Yankees affiliate. Do you ever worry about like brand confusion with, a red, white, and blue Patriots logo in, roughly that part of the country, in the Northeast?
Yes, to answer that question, we get confused all the time. I would wear a Patriots jacket to the airport, and I would get scowls from people, that are Giants fans, who go like, "Ooh, Patriots." So that's the kind of first connection that people will see from that. So yes, there is a little bit of confusion on that side of things, and people think that we're the New England Patriots all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a little bit of a challenge that we have. Becoming part of the Yankees, and we were an independent team from 98 through the pandemic, and then after the pandemic, the Yankees came knocking on the door, and in 2021 we became a Yankees affiliate. And it's very interesting when I was working with the branding of Patriots colors, and then talking to the Yankees about their colors and getting their brand guidelines and their color palette. There's such a great synergy here. And I'll explain. Our owner, again, Steve Califer, when he created the Somerset Patriots and he worked on the color design and all that stuff, he wanted to use the exact same Pantone blue that the Yankees have. So the Yankees use a Pantone 289 for his Yankee blue color. And so we have that same Pantone 289 color in our design of the Patriots logo. So Steve Califer was a huge Yankees fan, and his, going down to his grandfather, and he used to go to games all the time, and he had a real great connection with the Yankees. So a partnership with the Yankees was actually kind of embedded way back in 1998, subtly. But when we became a member of the Yankees, I think the Yankee fan base, who's probably primarily either Giants or Jets fans, they see the connection there, and they kind of get that immediate, ooky feeling, because they hate Patriots for the most part, whether you're a Giants or a Jets fan. So there was a little bit of that, but I think overall, I think the connection between the name Yankees and the name Patriots, I think, is a really good connection, because it's just, I think they're a little bit similar, so to speak, and
Sure.
And it's turned out really well for us. But it does, and I know we'll talk about this here in a little bit, but having minor league baseball allowing us to create alternate identities just gives newer connections that we're able to reach out to and have Yankee fans be excited about. If they're not excited about the Patriots branding, but maybe they want to get involved with our Diners branding or a Black Yankees branding, they're welcome to do that.
So let's shift from one icon of American culture to another, from the American flag to the Jersey Diners. This is a really fun alternate brand. I'm going to be speaking with Ryan Foose later on in this episode about that brand, and so it made a huge splash. It was widely well received. I don't recall really seeing any negativity about this Jersey Diners brand. It's obviously a shift in tone for you all. It's the Somerset Patriots is a very serious, a very patriotic logo. This one is fun and whimsical and has these fun colors. And what was the thinking for the team in creating this fun brand that's so different from your regular brand?
So I'll first start by saying, as the Somerset Patriots, when we transitioned into minor league baseball in the New York Yankees, there was a discussion of, should we change our branding and should we change our identity overall, just to kind of, highlight the fact that we are a new we're the same organization, but in a new playground, so to speak. And we decided, no, that's not the right thing, because we're still owned by the same, group of people. We're still the same organization that we were when we were independent versus now. So we kept our same identity as the Somerset Patriots. But minor league baseball has such a great program that allows teams to connect with their community in ways that maybe they haven't done before, and kind of create new programs and initiatives that are meaningful to the area. So when we decided to do this, I sat down with our director of marketing, Hal Hansen, and we kind of started kicking around some thoughts on this. And my first thought was like, oh, well, we should do something around pizza, because, New Jersey is a huge, pizza. I don't know if it's the capital of the world, but it's definitely, up there as far as one of the best places to get pizza. But that was a little too general and maybe not too creative, I would say. Hal had an idea of doing something around the greasy spoon, which, do you know what a greasy spoon is?
I sure do, yes.
It's a diner, right?
It is.
So he was thinking something along those lines, but then we were thinking that maybe that's not the best representation of a diner, because maybe it could have a negative connotation to that. So we basically molded our ideas and put it together as just, how about just the Jersey Diners, because New Jersey is the diner capital of the world. There, diners were produced and manufactured here in New Jersey. I think New Jersey, I don't know if the number is still accurate or not, but I think it's home to still over 500 diners, 500 to 600 diners or so in the state of New Jersey alone. And, we thought that it would be a fun initiative to go under, because going to a diner is very similar to going to a minor league baseball game. You gather with your family or your friends or your coworkers, and you go and sit down in a diner, and there's all this activity going on. There's so much food that you can have. And of course, back in the 50s, there's jukeboxes and dances, and maybe there might be car shows or whatever the case might be. And you can do anything in a diner. You can get anything there. And there's just, it also comes with the wait staff that's at a diner. Is that they're an icon in itself, as far as, a lot of these waitresses or work staff that are there at diners have been there for many, many years, and they just have a great edge to them that's just, part of the diner experience. You can get great food at any hours of the day, just about. And so we thought there's a lot of legs here, and there's a lot of opportunity for us to really bring light to the diners and that experience. And so we got together with Ryan Foose, who also created our Zorro's logo and our Black Yankees branding. And we had him, we went through a bunch of different design concepts and ideas. We were talking about doing a milkshake on the hat, but we're like, sometimes you get a milkshake, but not all the time. We were talking about doing waitresses, that didn't really work. So eventually we landed on the coffee mug, being that just about, anytime you go to a diner, you're being asked if you'd like a cup of coffee. It also kind of connects with the whole minor league baseball players that get their cup of coffee. Some of get a cup of coffee just going up to the major leagues for, a small stint. And, there's not a lot of caps out there that have the coffee mug on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then as well as we also kind of leaned into the neon that diners have as well, and kind of incorporated that into the colors of the hat and the design of the jersey as well. So we can kind of bring that color pop out into the marketing. So it all really came together very well. And we did the launch of this on January 23rd this year, which was National Pie Day. And we did it at a diner, and we invited our season ticket holders to this event. We had about 100 of them there. And we actually announced the branding and the identity there at this diner, and then gave away apple pies to people as they left the diner. But we served them breakfast and talked about the initiative, and then just sales just skyrocketed from there. And I've been working here for the Patriots for 25 years now, and I've never seen anything like it as far as just the sales activity and the response that we've gotten, the impressions that we've been getting on social media. It's exceeding all of our expectations.
Dave, I've already kept you later than I meant to, but I really do want to ask you about the Zorros and the Black Yankees. The Zorros is your Copa de la Diversión brand. It was from 2022, and it is based on if I understand correctly, one singular fox. Is that right?
That's right. And the lore on that is that when we were named the New York Yankees Double-A affiliate, we had a press conference on our field with Joe Torre and Willie Randolph, and we were announcing the partnership with the Yankees. And we're just coming out of COVID that year. This was in 2020. So the ballpark was not really inhabited by people, so to speak. There was a couple of wildlife that started coming to the ballpark. But coincidentally enough, that morning there was a fox that ran across the field. And if you go to our Zorro's page on our website, you'll see a picture of this fox that was running across the outfield that we captured. Oh, we didn't capture the fox; we captured the picture of the fox. But and foxes are very big here in New Jersey as well. You see them all over the place, and so Zorro's is Spanish for fox, and we felt a great connection with that. Hal Hansen worked on that program with Ryan Foose, and he designed the logo and the branding for that. And then each year we've been playing 5 games as the Zorro's to Somerset, and an ability to connect with our Latin community that's around us.
Last question for you, the Black Yankees. That's a really fantastic tribute to a historic team. Can you tell me about that alternate identity in that program?
Yeah, so with the just like Copa, minor league baseball created a program called the 9. Jackie Robinson wore the number 9 as a Montreal Royal when he was playing in the minor leagues. And the interesting thing is, when I was doing my research on this to see if we should get into the 9 program, first I learned that Jackie Robinson actually broke the color barrier as a minor leaguer here in the state of New Jersey. The other connection I found was that Hinchliffe Stadium is one of only 2 Negro League ballparks that are still alive today. One is Ripwood Field. That is that's gonna be making a lot of news here in June when Major League Baseball has their game there. But then also Hinchliffe Stadium has just recently been redone. It's in Paterson, New Jersey, and it's home to some minor league. There's the New Jersey Jackals play there. A lot of schools play there, football, things like that. But they renovated this old Negro League ballpark, and it's wonderful. But the team that called home to Hinchliffe Stadium back in the 30s and 40s was the team called the New York Black Yankees. And so I was like, all right, well, there's our connection, because we're the Yankees affiliate, New York Black Yankees. So I started learning about the team. And one thing I noticed was that they didn't really have a uniform to call their own. They were basically just New York Yankee hand-me-down uniforms or look-alike uniforms, but they were never, their own brand. So I thought this would be a great opportunity for us to create a brand for them, see what they would possibly look like if they were a real, team today playing. We're focusing on the B and the Y on the cap, for Black Yankees. So it's really focusing on Black Yankees and not New York Yankees, which is what their cap was before. It was in NY. And a beautiful black jersey that just says Black Yankees on the front of it. So it's a really sharp thing. This is going to be the first year that we're actually in play as the Black Yankees, and that's going to happen on Friday, August 30th this year. But really what it's done, it's allowed us to connect with the Black community in ways that we never have before. We've developed some great new partnerships. We're going to be doing on May 23rd, we're going to be doing a community project that is going to be honoring a former enslaved person named Prince Rogers at a Little League complex. So it's just allowing us to do, a lot more things, not only here at the ballpark, but outside in the community as well, and make some great connections.
Well, you all have so much going on. It's so much fun to talk to you about all of this, and I appreciate you staying on later than I asked you to, because it's there's so much to talk about. So I do really appreciate that. Dave, where can folks find the team and you in particular online?
Well, we're very, the Somerset Patriots are extremely active on social media. So I would, we're one of the tops in minor league baseball as far as social accounts go. So I would encourage you to find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok. Just search Somerset Patriots and you'll find us. You can find me specifically. I'm more active on X at DMarek, DMAREK 94.
Dave, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about all this, and we'll see you out on the ball field and on social media.
Paul, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Very happy, as always, to welcome back to the podcast Ryan Foose of Fooser Sports Design. Ryan, good evening. How you doing?
Hello, thanks for having me.
You've been busy. It's been fun to see. I feel like you're popping up on my Twitter feed all the time. So you've had some fun things that you've been working on. In particular, we're not talking about the Asheville Taurus right now, but I have to say the Asheville Taurus logo with the foam shaped like the state of North Carolina just got everyone's attention. Everybody loved that.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you add little hints, it can feel forced, and this is one of those times that it just kind of worked out and didn't feel too unnatural. So I'm glad it happened, and I'm glad people picked up on it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun when that sort of thing gets noticed, and it's also sort of fun when it takes like a day or two for it to actually get noticed, right? Like it was out there for a little bit before people started saying, "Hey, look!" So that's a really fun one. Speaking of fun, we are not here to talk about the Asheville Taurus. We are here to talk about one of your creations from the offseason that got a huge response. Everyone really enjoys this. This episode's about the Somerset Patriots, but obviously you are here to talk about your Jersey Diners creation. So this is near and dear to my heart. I'm a big fan of Jersey Diners. I go to the Jersey Shore every summer. That is well documented on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a really fun alternate brand for a team that has a more serious permanent brand.
Mm-hmm.
How much does that play into when you're coming up with something that's just pure fun like this? How much does their permanent brand factor, or does it at all?
Well, I got to give a shout out to Hal Hansen. This is his baby, and he's very gung ho. He's the one that got to make the announcement in the diner for the Jersey Diners, and so first and foremost, I'm really excited for him. That I can only imagine the feelings he has of thinking about this alternative brand and then having it not only be loved locally in Jersey, but it really, really took off to a level that I don't think anybody expected. And so the good news is when you have something that is very iconic to a certain decade and a certain time frame in Americana, that is kind of a more cartoony, subtle, old school feel, I think it actually works out really well with their brand. That it wasn't anything that, even though the colors were very, very bold, I think going like this highlighter pink and this like tealish cyan, it's definitely a departure from what they normally are with the Yankees kind of brand colors. But yeah, I think it was just a really fun time to say, how do we go about this? And it was multiple stages of, is it a baseball diner character, but then it looked a little bit like Mr. Met? Is it a food related item? But then everybody kind of goes into the diner for their specific thing. Myself, it's always the biggest pancakes I can find. So that's usually my go-to. But I know obviously Happy Waitress sandwich and disco fries, and there's a whole lot of things that people go to diners for.
Yeah.
Even those 2 a.m. burgers, which has happened from here and there. But it ended up being one of those where it came back to coffee, that it doesn't matter whether it's midday, midnight. There's always a cup of coffee that's floating around in that kind of traditional ceramic mug. So that's what we went for. And I think that, yeah, it was definitely playful, but it helped that the iconography and imagery of that time worked with their traditional brand.
At Uncle Bill's Pancake House in Ocean City, New Jersey, we always get like the table pancakes, right? Like everyone
Yeah.
orders their thing, but then you get like the table pancakes for everyone to share. I actually have an Uncle Bill's Pancake House mug that looks just like the one that's in the
Yes.
logo, right? Like it's a classic look. What's your connection? I know you're not based in New Jersey, so like how much of a background do you personally have in, experiencing the Jersey Diner? What, for lack of a better word, what was the research that went into this?
Yeah, so I grew up early childhood outside of Harrisburg, PA, so it was not out of the norm to go again to the Jersey Shore, head down to Maryland area and all that kind of stuff. And so one of the soccer teams in my early life was sponsored by Lee's Diner
Very
in good
nice.
old PA. So it's just I think metallic chrome, the checkerboards. I think there's some things that are just renowned and known right away that even if you see a glimpse of it, it takes you back to that nostalgic point. So really figuring out what kind of diner car was it, because that's obviously changed and it's very regional of what those kind of look like. There's some that are red and black, and there's some that are the pink and blue. So which one did we want to go with that? And so it was kind of, the good news is the food at the end of the day is what's kind of universally beloved. And maybe at some point we involve some waitresses and more waiters and kind of getting that old woman that's just very happy to see you at all times of the day. But it was just really digging into how can we make baseball food items. And I know that sounds really cliche, but it worked out in terms of just, even if it ended up being the baseball ball of butter on the pancakes, or the steak and eggs really worked out. And thankfully New Jersey isn't this oblong weird shape that it could play off as an actual steak that you get at a diner. So just really thinking about what are the items you want to focus on, how do we make it baseball related so that it can kind of tie to the brand that way. But ultimately leaning on Hal and crew to be like, what kind of environment do you want to have at the ballpark too? Because there's nothing better than when you have something embroidered, stitched, screen printed that's in the shop, and then they're around the concourse and they can get that same item. So kind of working with them in tandem of what are they looking to provide their fans when they become the Jersey Diners.
You mentioned sort of you referenced an era. Obviously, we've both mentioned diners and diner food that we like. The Jersey Diner is very much still around. But this idea of like the diner car and the metallic, the sort of jukebox feeling that
Mhm.
you captured here. When the team decided to go with that, was that something you brought to them? Was that like, hey, look, the heyday of the diner was, looked like this? Or, was that already pre-established when they came to you?
No, I think we had a couple of variations to choose from. And I think there was obviously concern about, do you do too much pink on a hat?
Hmm.
And you know very well that Copa has kind of opened the door. They allow people to say it's all right to do it. And now you're seeing a lot of other teams that are very good with just saying, yep, we're gonna have a pink hat and people are
Hmm.
gonna love it because it's different than the black and navy that they normally do.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think it was just the more fun version of it. I think that you could probably go and tone it down, and maybe it's more monochromatic with a little bit of red. But I think minor league baseball, when in doubt, you go on the fun side of things, and bright blue and pink was definitely the route to go.
It occurs to me, you mentioned the state and eggs. It occurs to me that you did the North Carolina foam on the beer for the tourists, and you've done
Hmm.
the Jersey steak. I feel like that's something that you're seeing in minor league baseball, like this sort of state pride, right? Like the
Hmm.
you're highlighting the local the local pride by giving the state outline. I live in Colorado now. It's a pretty boringly shaped state. There's not too much you could do out here, I don't think. But the shape of New Jersey is pretty iconic there. That's a fun wink and a nod. In your experience, did the state and eggs get recognized quicker, or the tourists foam?
I think it was probably the Taurus foam. I think Taurus foam was like a day two discovery, and I feel like people were slowly getting into it. I think there was a lot of people that were like, "Ooh, the steak and egg," and then somebody would correct them and say "state and egg," and so
State and egg.
I think it's you just don't want to make it too obvious. I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but the consumer loves that detail, and
Mhm.
that's why Hartford Whalers brand is just so popular, is because it has that nifty little H hidden in it, and I think people really, really love things that have that extra hidden meaning, and there's a whole lot of that in minor league baseball, and I think that's what makes it fun is when you don't have to confine yourself to a letter mark like a lot of MLB, that you can have these characters, you can incorporate those a lot more. So it was a nice little nod to the state itself, and hopefully can get some merch with that on it soon.
So this brand, you have, the coffee mug is the centerpiece, the coffee mug wearing the old-timey bow tie and diner hat. And then obviously the word mark, which evokes, the jukebox, the diner car. But then there are four alternates that came out when this was unveiled. There was the coffee pot, there was
Hmm.
the steak and eggs, there was
Hmm.
the happy waitress sandwich. Tell us what a happy waitress sandwich is.
Oh boy, so I don't. So that was new to me, to be honest with you. I had never actually had one before, but I think yeah, it's like a cheese, bacon, tomato type of thing, and it's always a special. I've yet to kind of delve into it, but I have a feeling like many things, whether it's horseshoe sandwiches or otherwise,
Oh, yeah.
there's some variant that people have had, they just don't quite know it.
The horseshoe sandwich was another one of yours with the lucky horseshoes there. I derailed myself asking you what that sandwich was. There's also the stack of pancakes.
Hmm.
And looking at these, I'm enjoying, we already talked about the New Jersey shaped steak, but the happy waitress sandwich, which was also new to me, by the way. That's that's maybe that's a North Jersey thing. I don't know. It's in South Jersey. I don't recall seeing that too often. But I'm sorry. I keep trying to get back to these Easter eggs here that you've tucked away in these. The baseball as pat of butter is one
Hmm.
that you notice pretty quickly if you're paying attention to the stack of pancakes. Another one, I'm assuming that this was intentional, that there are little kind of grill marks, if you will, on the happy waitress sandwich that are, it looks like a home plate and three bases. Is that meant to be a
Hmm.
baseball field on top of the sandwich there?
Correct.
All
Correct,
right.
sir. Yes.
And then I'm looking since there are these Easter eggs in those three. I'm looking for an Easter egg in the coffee pot, but I haven't found it yet. Am I missing an Easter egg?
No, there isn't in there, although it has been brought to our attention. We did an orange handle because it was just a brighter
Hmm.
that it wouldn't be all black. And
Right.
then people very much called out that that's the decaf version. So there will be a play on decaf for our folks in Somerset eventually, and they do have a now a charcoal colored top to do the caffeinated version, but it was one of those that you weren't in the moment. I was just like, oh, well, it's a nice, fun pop of color. This is great. And then immediately was called out. I think that was one of the top things was that's decaf. And it's like, oh, all right, well, there'll be another version as well for you, for the folks that need caffeine.
I mean, if ballparks can have peanut-free zones, I think that a logo can have decaf coffee. I think that that's all right. All right. You said that pancakes are your order.
Hmm.
Uh, if you're getting something savory, what's your savory order at a diner?
Ooh, I really do like, especially ever since going down to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and green chilies, like any kind of Spanish omelet, I will
Hmm.
absolutely destroy. And usually put on too much hot sauce than I want, and regret it about three-quarters of the way through. But that's usually the go-to is it's pancakes with hash browns, or it's just a nice big old spicy omelet.
Couple more questions for you. White wheat or rye on the toast?
White,
All right.
white.
How do you like your eggs?
Scrambled. I'm a weirdo when it comes to yolk, so I'll do scrambled.
All right. And then what do you put in your coffee? How do you take your coffee?
Black. Yeah.
Oh,
And I somehow I coffee started for me around the pandemic. So I went through undergrad and master's degree and moving and shaking and doing things in life and pulling all-nighters without coffee. And that's a recent trend for me, is to get into that. And I went straight from no coffee to black coffee. So I don't know how that happened, but
all right. So scrambled eggs, white toast, black coffee with a stack of pancakes and potatoes chaser.
yeah, that's good. That's good with me.
That sounds like a pretty good day at the Jersey Diner right there. Well, Ryan, thanks so much. This is honestly this is so much fun to talk about. And I always love seeing these brands get out there and get these huge positive reactions. It's sort of funny for me because when I write about a new brand on sportslogos.net, I'm totally rooting for it to get a good reaction. It's so much more fun to write about a positive brand. And it's like if a brand gets panned, I always feel like I'm sort of, like it's almost directed at me if I've written an article about it, right? Like so it's
Yeah.
I love seeing good brands get positive reactions. And this is like I said, near and dear to my heart. This is a fun one for someone who continues to go to the Jersey Shore every single summer. So thank you. Thanks for this great work, and thanks for hopping on and talking about it on the podcast.
No, thanks, Paul. Anytime.
All right. We will talk to you again. I'm sure you're officially, I think, Ryan, a regular on the podcast now. So
Oh, nice.
well,
Nice.
so we'll talk to you again, and yeah, have a great rest of your evening.
You as well.
All right, everyone, welcome back. I am so pleased to have on the podcast for the very first time my friend Al Langlois, who you will know as being a regular on the Baseballpalooza road trip that I talk about so frequently on this podcast. Al Langlois, hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Paul. How are you, buddy?
Well, we are counting the days till Baseballpalooza, so it is my favorite time of year when we get within 5 months of Baseballpalooza, and I start counting down elf style here. So I am obviously doing very well. The reason that I have asked you to come on the podcast for this particular episode is because you are a resident of Morristown, New Jersey, which notably is in New Jersey, where Somerset is located. Somerset, obviously, we've been talking about, they have an alternate identity called the Jersey Diners. And I believe that you are a frequenter of Jersey Diners. So I wanted to chat with you about that for a moment.
Yeah, so absolutely. Well, basically everyone in New Jersey is a frequenter of Jersey diners. So that does not make me special in any way. It is something basically we all do. But I've obviously lived in Jersey for most of my life. Everybody in Jersey goes to diners. The last few years, I've been driving all over the state for kids' sporting events, soccer tournaments, gymnastics tournaments, stuff like that. So I have now experienced a vast number of the South Jersey diners, which is good. We obviously, being from Jersey, use summer on the Jersey Shore. There's also the shore style diners.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess, thinking about it in the last couple of days, I've probably been to about 40. Now
40.
that 40 Jersey diners is where I'm gonna guess, just on my travels throughout the state. That may sound like a decent amount. And I was told as a kid, and I don't know if this is true or not, and I certainly have not checked it because I just want to believe that it is true, that there is something like, and I'm going to round the numbers here, 550 municipalities, towns, cities, whatever, in New Jersey, and there are something like 600 diners. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but that's more than one per town, right?
It is.
Being at 40, really not that impressive.
What would you say are, in terms of defining characteristics, what sets a Jersey diner apart from other restaurants in New Jersey and other diners around the country?
Oh, that's a good question. So, Jersey diner is, there are a few things that, in my opinion, are non-negotiables about a Jersey diner. One, just even starting, it's got that sort of a slight Art Deco style to it. There's a lot of chrome, stainless steel. You come in, you got the swivel chairs near the counter.
Yeah.
usually they have like the vestibule out front. Like you don't just come directly into the diner. You got the vestibule out front. Back in the day, that's where like the Pac-Man was. That's where the cigarette machine was with the pull handles. There's always the guy up front, usually the owner. So the Jersey diner is very much a Greek diner.
Yeah.
Which it sort and also kind of separates itself from a lot of other Jersey places, because Jersey, especially North Jersey, and there's a heavy like sort of Italian American tilt to every restaurant. Jersey diner certainly has like Italian stuff on the menu, but it is one of the few that is not like specifically Italian centric, if that makes sense. So you got the Greek guy out front who seats everybody. And then you don't pay at the table. I don't know if that's normal for diners, but you don't pay at the table. You always pay up front to that guy.
Yeah.
The other thing you always have in a Jersey diner is the rotating dessert display.
Absolutely iconic for a Jersey diner. Absolutely.
You got your desserts in there. So you got your Boston cream pie. One of the desserts in there that is like the giant cookie, the big as your face cookie with the consistency of drywall, basically. And like the sprinkles are definitely from the 1940s, 1960s. There could be asbestos in the sprinkles, kind of thing, but you still get it anyways. The padded booths with the the rounded off edges of the table. Back in the day, you had the wonderful little personal jukeboxes.
Yeah.
Where you could put in, A4 just at your table, and you could get, I don't know. But last time I saw one you're probably putting in like Yaz or the Outfield or something from the 80s.
It's hard.
And then you have the giant menu, the endless menu. The waitress, you're not sure if she hates your guts or not.
Yeah.
It's possible she does.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Yeah, like she might hate you.
Yeah.
But if you're okay, then she calls you like hun or doll.
Yep.
And that is like the best compliment you can get, that because you're like, she doesn't hate me. Your coffee cup is always full. And it's like consistently good coffee. So now I'm going there with kids all the time, and they say, oh, can we get you anything to drink? And you just should get water or coffee. Some people can get sodas, but like if you ask for juice, it is the only way to describe the size of the cup is like a thimble for like $3.50,
Yep.
So whatever money you're making eating endless fries, you're taking a bath on the $3.50 sip of orange juice. A couple of staples on the menu is obviously the happy waitress. And then don't forget disco fries. Are you familiar with? Do you guys have disco fries in?
No, I don't know what that means. That conjures nothing for me.
Oh, disco fries. So some people would they are poutine adjacent.
All right.
It is kind of fried. It is fries with brown gravy, like a turkey or chicken gravy.
Yeah.
And melted mozzarella, but not like fresh mozzarella, like the processed mozzarella.
Right. Shredded. Yeah.
Yeah, and melted, and that is so those are disco fries.
At Manila's Diner in Pennsylvania, we had gravy cheese fries. We just called them gravy cheese fries. And then when I discovered poutine in Canada, I was like, hey, they stole this from Manila's Diner.
No, they stole it. So I don't know why we get to call them disco fries, but we're just more fun. I guess we're just having a party.
Disco fries. Yeah, we were very boring. We just called them gravy cheese fries.
Yeah, and then she gives you the bill, you pay up front. They usually have the bowl of like gross mints, that I think that went away with COVID.
Right.
But
the ones that were like not wrapped, they were just in a bowl and you stuck your fingers in and grabbed like 3 of them and left whatever was on your fingers on the other ones for the next person to grab.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how you achieve herd immunity. One of the like things about a Jersey diner is kind of the outlandish and preposterous like arrogance of the Jersey diner, which is they'll have like something they'll say like world's best key lime pie.
Oh yeah.
Or yeah. Or the world famous TikTok diner.
Right.
And you're like, I'm pretty sure nobody else outside of Clifton, New Jersey really knows.
It's like Elf, you did it. World's best cup of coffee.
It's that same. And And one of the arrogances is that, like, you're telling me I am at the, Broadway Diner in Summit, and you've got it's 2 o'clock on a Tuesday, and you got somebody back there who's making like scrambled eggs with his left hand and like lobster thermidor with his right. And like, I don't believe you. You can't. There's not somebody in the back there who can make 14,000 different dishes all in 10 minutes. But the Jersey Diner will claim you can.
So before I even knew that you had been to 40 or more Jersey diners, I have ascribed a certain amount of credibility to your food tastes, just because on Baseballpalooza, you are often the guy in the van who is picking out the restaurants and who is finding the fun places to go eat. I will always remember that you were the one who directed us to Hattie B's for hot chicken in Nashville. So your food cred was already well established with me just by virtue of our Baseballpalooza trips. When you go to a Jersey diner, do you have a standard order? Is there something that you look for? You looking for SOS or cream chipped beef or whatever? Is there something you look for?
Well, now I apologize for evading the question, but depends which diner we're at.
Oh, okay.
Like,
all right.
If we're at Broadway Diner, then I'm getting pancakes.
All right.
If we're at the Golden Touch, then I'm going to get some sort of eggs and bacon type thing.
Mm-hmm.
If we're at the Nautilus, then I'm going to get something, like I'll get like a Greek salad, or they make like a Greek panini. If we're down the shore, if we're at Mustache Bill's in Barnegat, you're definitely getting the hash browns no matter what. If I'm down the shore, like, I guess you wouldn't call Frank's Deli in Asbury Park necessarily a diner, though it's diner adjacent. You have to get the Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. And you will hear it come out. I just said Taylor ham.
Yep.
I understand for below Route 78, then it's pork roll, but it's Taylor ham.
The Taylor ham versus pork roll culture war was bound to
Mhm.
surface on this episode. So that's, I'm glad you got out in front of it.
I am happy to get any kind of omelet basically at any diner in New Jersey.
Okay.
And you get the rye toast. Hash browns are you're going to get everywhere. Happy Waitress is perfect for that's like in my opinion, that's kind of the kid thing. When I was a kid, I always got that. Or just a grilled cheese. Grilled cheese is always going to be good because they got the griddle going. You know what I mean? It's on the griddle. It's already greased up.
All right, so Al, before I let you go, and so we can get back to our Baseballpalooza countdown here, just 7 weeks away. The Jersey diners. Why, in general, is it important for a baseball team to highlight the Jersey diner? What is it that makes the diner special to New Jersey?
So I would say one of the things I've enjoyed most about listening to your podcast is the way that the minor league teams tie everything back, are really getting good at tying everything back to their localities. The Jersey diner is it's not to sound too dramatic, but it is a central part of every New Jersey town. It is the place where the local gossip gets exchanged. It is the place where the teenagers go and hang out and stay for an hour because there's nowhere else to go. There's nothing to do in town. Let's go, and we're going to hang out at the diner for hours. It is where, if you come back into town, for Thanksgiving break or whatever, go to the diner and you're going to see the people you want to see. It is an important part of every town, and everybody in town has like an opinion about each diner, where they want to go, which one is the best. You go to Brookside? No, come on, you should go to there's a reason why at the end of The Sopranos, like, Tony gets whacked in a diner.
Supposedly, if that's your interpretation, that's fine. But but it does end in a diner.
And it's everybody coming in, and who's coming in, and there's a reason for that. Like, he got it. Like, that's part of Jersey. And so the diner, in each town, it's probably second to town hall in terms of the most quote unquote important place.
I really love that, because when I was in high school, and we were old enough to drive, and we would go see the Phillies at Veterans Stadium, and the games would end at this was in the days of 3.5-hour baseball games, right? Like, so they would end at 10:30, and we would drive back to Wayne, Pennsylvania, and we would always go to Manila's Diner. And I know that the Pennsylvania Diner is not the same as the Jersey Diner. I'm not trying to claim that in any way. But like, just going back to our hometown and going to the diner and getting a root beer float and sort of, debriefing on the game and just sort of chatting and laughing. And that was sort of how the night wrapped up, right? Like, so I totally see that as the, not just a food delivery mechanism, but a place of social gathering. So that's a poetic note to end this interview on. Al, thank you so much. This has been a ton of fun. I appreciate you taking the time out of your weekend to talk about Jersey diners. I can't wait to see you in just a few short weeks at Baseballpalooza Part 10, I think.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait, Paul. It's great to talk to you.
Al, thank you so much. We'll see you soon. All right, everyone. Welcome back. It's time once again for your favorite segment, my favorite segment, Studio Simon Stumpers, with my friend, Dan Simon. Dan, good morning. How are you?
Paul, I am fantastic. How are things in Fort Collins, Colorado?
Well, at the very moment, it is beautiful in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Okay. Well, beautiful weather is great for baseball, and lots of baseball has been played in all over the United States, including New Jersey, where you will find the Somerset Patriots.
Your native New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
Born in New York, but
Mm.
raised for the most part in New Jersey. I consider myself, though I was born in New York City, lived there until I was 7. I consider myself a Jersey boy. But anyway, here we go. The Somerset Patriots, they originally played in the Independent Atlantic League from their inaugural season in 1998 as one of the league's founding members, until they became the Yankees Double-A affiliate they were named their affiliate in 2020. There was no season in 2020. So I guess officially played their first game in 2021. But even though they were not yet a New York Yankees affiliate, their very first manager was a former Yankee. So our Studio Simon Stumper today asks, what Yankees Cy Young Award winner was the Somerset Patriots' first manager? Was it A, Sparky Lyle, who, by the way, also pitched for the Philadelphia Phillies, B, Ron Guidry, or C, Roger Clemens?
I have a vague association of Roger Clemens doing something like that, and possibly even like pitching for the team as a like player manager. And I don't have a way of sussing this, but like that just like picks at the back of my brain is that Roger Clemens was involved in indie ball and tried to play as a player manager. So it's kind of a guess. I'm not basing it on any actual knowledge, but it feels like a possibility. I'm going to go Roger Clemens.
Okay. As I've said before, that would be correct if it was not incorrect. And you are remembering something. After his major league playing days, he did pitch for an independent team. And I believe the reason he did that is because he had 2 sons who played minor league baseball, I believe. Currently, you being a Phillies fan, know that one of his sons, Cody, I believe.
Cody Clemens has had a couple of big hits this year.
Okay, he seems to be doing pretty well this season.
Yeah.
That probably wouldn't have been the son he played with. So I think he has 3 sons, and all of their names start with the letter K, which makes sense given Roger Clemens, even though his last name begins with a C, certainly had a lot of Ks in his over his career. And so he played independent ball, like pitched in a game, I think, several years after he retired. And he was not a young man when he retired. He was in his 40s. But he did not, if he did coach, he did not manage the Somerset Patriots. Now, by the way, check this out about Roger Clemens. Speaking of when he retired, he won a Cy Young Award in his age 23 season. He won a Cy Young Award in his age 41 season, and another 5 more Cy Young Awards in between, but did not manage the Somerset Patriots. Ron Guidry had one of the best seasons ever by a pitcher in 1978. He had when the Yankees won the World Series, second year in a row over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Guidry had a 25-3 record with a 1.75 ERA, 9 shutouts, and was a unanimous Cy Young Award winner. But he also did not manage the Somerset Patriots. The correct answer is Sparky Lyle, who was a closer for the Yankees as well as for the Boston Red Sox, Texas Rangers, Philadelphia Phillies, and I might be leaving out a team or two here and there. He managed Somerset from, as I mentioned, their inaugural season in 1998 to 2012, won over 1,000 games and won 5 league championships. Despite him winning the American League Cy Young Award in 1977, he lost his closer role when the Yankees owner George Steinbrenner signed future Hall of Famer Goose Gossage as a free agent that offseason, which led Yankee third baseman Greg Nettles to quip that Lyle went from Cy Young to sayonara, because he was basically persona non grata once Goose Gossage arrived. So, but enjoyed a long and successful career as a Somerset Patriots manager, and Somerset even has a dog mascot, not a bat dog like you guys have seen at recent games, including one game that I was at with you. Their mascot is named Sparky, although this one is spelled with 2 E's, I guess maybe to avoid any confusion between him and, at the time, their manager. And they also have a cat mascot named Slider, which coincidentally or not happened to be Sparky Lyle's signature pitch. So there you go. Well, of course.
I have to memory is a funny thing here, right? Like, because I was thinking late 90s, like Roger Clemens was wrapping up, like, because I associate him with my early childhood. He pitched into the mid 2000s. He was still pitching in 2004, 2005. So that was a bad guess on my part. I could have, there was no sussing I could do to determine Ron Guidry versus Sparky Lyle, but I should have known that Roger Clemens was still pitching in 1998 in the majors.
Yeah, I figured you were going to eliminate him right away as the correct answer based on that. But
I had that little thing in the back of my head that he did something in independent ball, and I let that cloud my judgment. So, all right, well, I'm gonna take the L and try to do better next week here. Dan Simon, as always, thanks so much. This is such a fun thing to get to do every single week. Go find Dan on studiosimon.net online, and also on Instagram at studio_Simon. Dan, thank you. We'll see you next week.
I'm looking forward to it, Paul. I hope you have a great week until I see you again 7 days from now.
All right, see ya.